Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have to talk about some Granblue as always, because they recently released 2B, and it's not just about 2B this time. This time it will be about the update in general, because there's been a lot of changes. Well, there's been a few changes that are pretty important that they made, and I really want to give a little props to the developers for it, because it's really important to always talk about things that they do well. I know this time and age, like these days, it's really good to talk about, people really like to talk about flaws. They like to complain, they like to get mad, but I like to be on the positive side as much as I can, because when I get mad, if I have to rant about something, I'll rant about it for at least 30 minutes. So let's talk about the good things that they've changed. So first of all, 2B has been added to the game. As always, I made my vow with the game. I said if they add 2B to the rupee shop, I'll buy the battle pass, which I did because they added 2B to the rupee shop, and that's huge. So I don't know the pricing once again, because I have I have the deluxe edition, so I cannot see the prices. I just have the character and that's it. But I'm assuming she's the same price as Celius in terms of rupees, which is 22.5k, right? That's a lot of rupees. As always, I made a video about that. I complained about it. However, they've even done better. So they also added weekly challenges to earn more rupees, and the amount of rupees you get from weekly challenges is 450 rupees, I believe, which makes a total of 1,500 rupees you can earn per week. Before, you could only earn up to, I believe it was 950 or something like that. So now it's like was it 950? No, it was 1050. Now it's 1500, which is a lot, right? So we'll take it every day. I'll take it every day. So that's huge. It makes it so much better. It makes it so much easier to get the characters as well. So I'm very grateful for that. Now with that being said, they also added 2B. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I would like to also talk about when it comes to 2B, because as a character she's very fun, but I think one of the most important things to talk about here is mostly the lessons that could be learned from the developers. I mean, by the developers, from like adding new characters to some games. This was also an issue that I had with Guilty Gear Strive, where in Guilty Gear Strive, a lot of characters, their kit in general felt very incomplete. These days they're trying to make them more complete. They're adding new moves even to characters. That's really cool. But DLC characters also in Guilty Gear Strive have been much better, especially compared to the ones that they added to season 1. So that's really nice. And the lesson I think Guilty Gear Strive should have learned early was to make, because as you know, the goal for Guilty Gear Strive was to make like very simple characters. Every character basically has like 4 specials, and that's about it. But the problem is, a lot of time these 4 specials were lacking. They didn't have enough into them to make the character feel complete. However, I think it was mostly noticeable when they added Asuka to the game. When they added Asuka, what they did is they made 4 moves for the character, but because he has so many spells and he has so many ways to use his moves, like he can use all of his moves in midair, he can use all of his moves on the ground, he can do a shit ton of things, right? And because they have like 26 spells, it makes it feel like he has a whole lot of things, right? So that's really great for the character. And they started to do more DLC characters designed around that philosophy, where they have a shit ton of things within the 4 moves that they have. They have like so many ways to use them. You can, like Elfeld, for example, her shot, you can do it in the air, it goes forward and then it reverses, like it's crazy, right? Johnny, he can use all of his moves in the air, on the ground, he can move around, he can cancel them. You can do so many things with the 4 moves that the characters have, and that's a lesson that they had to learn for Guilty Gear Strive. For Granblue, a lesson that I would like them to learn, especially from 2B, is that 2B is extremely fun, because she, how can I put it? She has a lot of personality into her moves, but that's mostly because, it's not necessarily because she has a lot of them. Like, yes, she has a lot of them, but she also doesn't rely on universal mechanics. So a big problem that is currently going on with Granblue is the fact that 6L or Dashlight, the way I like to call it. Dashlight is really, really strong. So because Dashlight is really strong, and because they released that statement where they said, oh, we're only updating the game after the end of Arctor, which is fine, and it was kind of expectable, right? It was kind of predictable that it would say something like that, and I'm not mad at that at all. I know some people are bummed out, but I'm not mad at it at all. I was kind of expecting that. But they also mentioned that they are not trying to make big changes that will affect the entire cast. They will just up the characters that are a bit lacking, and they'll make them a bit better, right? And that's fine, that's good. My only concern is what they are looking at. But like I said, the lesson that I want them to learn really is the issue with Dashlight, with something like Dashlight completely overshadowing the nature or the identity of the characters, like how they individually play neutral, how they individually use some of the tools, and how Dashlight has completely taken over it, right? I'm not a fan of the way Dashlight is right now, but 2B, because she doesn't have any dash attacks or Dashlight specifically, she is really fun to play. Like, you have to be really aware of her range, of the nature of her buttons, the thing that she does, and you as a player, it really feels good to use her moves. They feel very fluid, and they hit the way you expect them to hit. You know, there's always these characters where they have this issue where they seem to have a move that hits really far, but it really doesn't. And sometimes they seem to have a move that hits like not so far, but it hits really far. For example, I think the best example for me to use is a character like Anila. She has a spear. You would expect her, at least her far heavy, to hit a bit further than it does, especially for the recovery. It really doesn't hit that far, right? I feel like you can only hit with it because of the threat of other moves sometimes, specifically your sweep, which is also not as big as you would expect, to be honest. Like in the middle of a match, that move is not that huge, but some moves like that, they do not seem to hit the way that you think they would hit. I also felt it really with Vasaraga. If you use his far heavy, like the big swing, it really doesn't go that far. Have you seen the side of his scythe? That shit goes like, it doesn't go that far, and I think it kind of sucks. But then on the other side, you have a character like Nier, who is supposed to be quote unquote weak without the puppet, and then she does far heavy, and that shit goes through the entire map. Also, have you noticed how Nier is really fast for a little girl that is really skinny and not so healthy? She's extremely fast, which is pretty weird. But we're not just like, oh, Nier. We can hate on Nier in other videos, not here. So for now, we're just talking about 2B, right? And like I said, 2B has a lot of her personality is really strong through her buttons, not through her butt, her buttons. But I think she's a really fun character to play. Aside of that, she's very difficult to play because she has so many things, of course. But something that I've noticed, and it's kind of a silly thing, if you play in order to optimize the route for the self-destruct, you know, just to have a little bit of fun, right? If you optimize that, it's really fun because even though the character has a lot of things, I've noticed that it's actually easier to learn the character through a goal like that. It's something that I feel like has been a bit difficult in the new Granblue. Like learning, because I'm going through new characters every time, right? Every time I level up a character to 500, I go through a new character afterwards. I feel like it's been a bit difficult to learn a new character or to get an idea of what a character can do, because there's not a clear goal that you can set, you know, and you can have fun with each character. I feel like, for example, for me, it was a bit easier to learn, say, Beelzebub, because Ultimate Karma was really fun, right? When you have a move that is fun, I feel like it's easier to learn a character. I think that's basically what I'm trying to say. But then you have characters like Anila, where some of the moves, they're just kind of you know. I think the ultimate projectile is cool, but it's so slow and so punishable that it's kind of hard to have fun with it. So I don't know. It was the same with Percival. I wanted to really learn how to use his ultimate stacks. I really wanted to learn how to use that, but it just sucks. It just really sucks. So I think that's a part of the characters that are just not fun. Whereas Zoe, for example, was fun because using the dragon and learning combos where you can use the dragon without really canceling, I think that was also really fun. So I think another good lesson to learn for the developers is to make moves that are fun to use, easy to use, fun to use, but also kind of balanced, right? Because 2B, I think, of course, the self-destruct is a thing, but I think overall, surprisingly, her kit is somewhat fair, it seems. At least from day one first impression, I didn't feel like the character was completely busted. I think she's very alien because she plays an entirely different game, so if you play against the character, it's probably going to feel weird, but it doesn't feel like she's necessarily like cheating or stealing rounds, basically. Unlike Nier, where day one with Nier, when I was just checking out the new characters like Grimnir and Nier, I was like, okay, let me just try out this character. Immediately with Nier, it was like you had Raging Strike, automatic Raging Strike setups, easy mix-ups, easy left-rights, easy stuff like plus 30 frames on some moves. It was insane, right? The character was really cheap from the very start. And when I played against her day one, I felt like I couldn't move. I felt like her presence on the screen was preventing me from playing the game. But 2B doesn't feel that way. So it's a good sign, I would say. I'm not sure. I don't know if she's broken. I don't know if she's really cheap. I'm not good at the game. I'm only really average. So I cannot really speak for, the people. I cannot be like, oh my god, this character is top 1 or whatever. But I think in a way she's designed in a somewhat healthy way compared to some characters that exist in this game. So because of that, I think the character is kind of fun to fight so far, and she's also very fun to play as well. So lastly, we talked about 2B. The last little thing I want to talk about, and I'm really grateful for, is that they fixed the input delay on PlayStation 5. I never really considered input delay being a problem necessarily, but after the change, I think I regret not using the OS that I'm playing on PS5 when I lose. I feel like I should have used the options today. I should have been like, well, I'm playing on PS5, that's why I lost, because it's a pretty big game changer, I would say. I'm seeing myself dodging more Raging Strikes more often, and it's like, by reflex. Because sometimes I see Raging Strike and I press the dodge button just a little too late. But this time, like these days, I just press the dodge button and it just happens. And it's more frequent than it used to be. And just because of that, I'm super grateful for it. I'm also playing Anila, and my biggest issue with Anila is that she's been very clunky. But because of the input delay, she feels more fluid almost. She still has a lot of recovery on her stuff, but I feel like I can do more. I'm allowed to move a bit more than before because the game feels slightly more responsive. I feel like I've never really considered input delay like that. I just thought, oh, I just suck at this. That's basically the way I was thinking. I was just like, I just suck at this, and that was the end of it. So that's definitely interesting. It makes me want to play the game significantly more and get better, So yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about. So props to the devs for making the game slightly better. I'm still hoping for better updates. This gives me hope for sure. 2B is really fun to play. She has a lot of personality, like I said. The rupee shop, really good. The battle pass I'm happy with now. The rupees, I'm happy. Input delay, 10 out of 10. So I'm super happy with this update in general. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.